Hi everybody, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. On my recent video here on the Extra channel about carrying tools in a light, non-permissive environment, I was dressed very similarly to this, and I had a bunch of people ask me about drawing from this kind of position. So thought I'd get dressed up again today, actually filming this on Halloween day. Gonna take my wife to the ballet later. We have tickets to the ballet tonight. And so I thought I would give you an idea of what a draw to first shot looks like in this kind of getup. If you want to get better as a defensive shooter, one of the best tools you can use is a Mantis X10 firearms performance system. Helps you in live fire and in dry fire. I think people think this is a lot more difficult than it actually is. In reality, if you set yourself up correctly, you will get about the same results that you get from regular stuff. So, you know, your regular setup. Now, it's certainly not going to be as fast, okay? Don't fool yourself that John is going to have a 1 second draw to first shot out of this kind of tucked in concealment. I'm not saying you couldn't possibly do that, but it would be more difficult than you probably want to do. So again, I am wearing here a tucked in polo shirt, or a button down shirt rather, and a pair of dress pants. Just regular old dress pants that are kind of normal. So again, this is what I look like right now. This is what I am looking at. And so what kind of a draw to first shot can we get here? I can pretty consistently, depending on how I set this up, I can get a draw and shot on a target at 7 yards, which is what we're trying to do here, in somewhere around 1.5 seconds. Now, again, that it changes from my regular when I'm in my kind of tactical hobo, you know, polo shirt and cargo pants, kind of my regular life. And I'm a sub 1 second guy from that position. This is why this is important stuff to know. Remember, we talk about this on the main channel all the time, that in a counter ambushing situation, if you have a 1 second draw to first shot, somebody's got a gun on you and they are threatening you, they turn their nose, they just move their nose and move their eyes off you, you can get a gun out on them and a shot on them before they can get back to you, see, oh no, I need to shoot that guy, program the motion and make the motion happen. So you have a distinct advantage if you have a 1.0 draw to first shot. If you have a 1.5 second draw to first shot, then you don't need him to just turn his nose. You need him to show you his ear. You need him to have a gun up on you if you're going to counter ambush and go, wait, what's over here? If he shows you his ear, he cannot get back to you, see what's going on, process what's going on, recognize I need to shoot this guy and shoot this guy or gal in under 1.5. If you have a 2 second draw to first shot, then he needs to show you his shoulder. So that's him going here like this and then turning in order to show you at the very least his shoulder. Certainly his back would be even better. Then as a 2.0 draw to first shot, that's your visual go signal to go. Talk about that on the main narrated videos, on surveillance videos. We see it literally all the time. So what are we at in here? If I'm wearing this kind of concealment, which again is a much more professional look, it's the fashion police to be damned. You know, a button-up shirt like this, I could walk into a meeting with somebody and not feel bad about that. I'm probably gonna wear one of my suits tonight, but same thing here. I'll set this all up the same and then button the top button, put a tie. I won't have this shirt on, I'll just have a plain shirt on and a suit coat. But this is what we will be looking at. So I tell you what I'm gonna do, since it's all set up and everything is there, and I have a dry gun in here right now. So I've put a dry fire gun. So what I've done on this first rep that I'm gonna show you is I've just put with an empty gun, I have my range tech timer and a par time of 1.5 seconds. And it's pretty spicy to get there at 1.5 seconds, but let's do a rep. I'll show you what it looks like, and then I will show you kind of how I set it up in order to have that kind of draw to first shot. Okay, let's give it a try from the surrender posture here. All right, set everything kind of up like we like. Okay, that was about a 2.0 because I had a hard time getting to the gun because my pants shifted a little bit, and that can happen, absolutely. So I was about a 1.8 there, somewhere in that ballpark to get the gun out. Certainly not my best draw. Let's see if we can set it up a little bit more optimally and get a better result. Gun out quickly, John. There it was, all day, every day. Second take there, set the gun up a little bit more optimally for me, and there was a 1.5 second draw to first shot. It's there. Now I'm gonna set this up one more time, and we're gonna use the Mantis X10 this time to kind of see what we can get. That'll stick this out a little bit farther, so it might look a little bit different, but just to give you a different feel on how to do this. Now, quite frankly, if you're dressing in this manner, the problem of setting this all up is it takes a good while. I'm gonna show you how I have it all set up in a minute, But let's get one more rep and see what we can find. Okay, got everything set up, trying not to cheat here, trying not to get it where, you know, I'm not as I would be when I am out in public. This is kind of how I would be. Of course, it sticks out just a little bit here because of the X10 unit on there. All right, here we go.
Stand by.
That was an A-zone hit. And what you saw there was a 1.36, and you can see it right there. It is a 1.3. So, I mean, a 1.3 second draw to first shot from that kind of concealment. All right, let me show you how it's set up. I'm gonna go and change a little bit so you can see the underpinnings of all this and how I'm set up that way. But the first thing that I wanna show you here is that I have this shirt tucked in a kind of a unique way, because you notice this shirt has shirt stays on it, or a tail on it that's relatively long, right? That's kind of down here, relatively long. So the one cheat that I do, that's a cheat that I actually do when I go anywhere I go, is I take the tail under the last button. So I kind of use the last button and I fold it up underneath in front and put it where it's a second layer of fabric. Does two things for me, in fact, because my holster and everything is set up correctly for me to have proper ride height here. It gives me an extra layer of fabric there, which gives me a little bit better concealment, quite frankly, just one less chance of something sticking out. The other thing that it does is it keeps this from being so long that I have to raise this up so high and try to pull all this fabric, because I don't want a shirt that's quite that big. Now, I will say this, if you wear a shirt that is one size bigger than you need, and then you blouse that in the back, it's an old trick that we used to do in the military, right? That you get a shirt, you know, have it nice and flat here, and then kind of, you know, tuck it inside itself on the sides. You get that little kind of bloused effect. Nobody will give you a hard time about that, really. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It still looks like an okay thing. It's not fitted perfectly. Kind of looks like maybe you lost some weight. But then when I tuck this underneath like so, when I go to tuck in my gun, you notice that when I tucked it in, I reach here with this north-south position, and when I grab a hold of this whole thing and pull, it comes out to the spot that I want, and it's not too long. So then I can drive down to get my firing grip on the gun and drive the gun out. So that's kind of the one cheat that I do. Let me just show you the rest of the setup. This is me. This is what it looks like underneath, okay? Except for I've added a pair of jiu-jitsu spats. Because I didn't want you sitting and looking at my hairy legs and my chonies, okay? So here is kind of what this setup looks like. So it's an Enigma. It's all I'm doing is wearing an Enigma on a leash. And I have this guy set up fairly tight for me because I don't want it kind of shifting around. You could set that up to your own comfort, all those things. I'm wearing my, it's a Dark Star Gear Orion holster for a P30 or a VP9 with, again, my normal, you know, regular everyday carry gun, Theseus. So this is how I have this guy set up. Now let me grab the belt real quick and I'll show you kind of where that sits. And this is the exterior belt I'm wearing, which again, it doesn't have to hold the gun. It doesn't have to hold anything to do with keeping up tools other than the crap that's in your pockets with your pants, right? So all I'm gonna do with this guy here is I like the fact that this one has an infinite adjust buckle. So it doesn't have holes in it, so you have a particular one it has to be in. So all I'm gonna do here is, I don't wanna impact my mic pack on this one, but all I'm gonna do is just put this guy around such that I wanna show you in the front kind of what I'm doing. It's not exactly an exact perfect science here, but I'm wearing this belt buckle about here. So I kind of put the Enigma up a little high, get it kind of cinched where I like it and comfortable. Then when I put the pants on, it comes and sits about right here. And the reason that I like it there, and I actually will cinch those down a little bit tight, not crazy tight, but so that it stays there, that when I come here, grab a hold, it stays. And so if that belt stays at that level, then when I go get the gun, it's there. And that's how I get like a 1-2 shot or a 1-3 shot out of this kind of thing. Now, if this guy comes up, if this rides up a little high, then I have to go and dig it out of here. So what I tend to do here is when I go for the gun, I tend to hit this and try to hit these fingers, that if I have to drive this down to get in there, I can. So I'll try to hit this right, but if this has ridden up a little bit, like, you know, when I pulled this, the pants came with it and it came up too high, especially if it's around the grip here, then what I'm trying to do is dive my fingers down to drive that out of the way to get the gun out, to get out on target. and put that bad boy away. Now, if you were doing demonstrated concepts like Rhett Neumeier, fantastic trainer, man, Rhett's doing all kinds of crazy stuff with cheek weld guns, and he's, here we are in 2021 and he's in 3021 doing stuff. But what Rhett likes to do here is if he is carrying and he pushes his Enigma real low, and so it's under his belt line, so it's like super deep concealment, so he doesn't even look like, he doesn't have a cover shirt on or anything like that, but the gun's hiding underneath there, then he drives back behind here with these 3 fingers, is he drives on this side of the gun, drives down and around to the gun, and then draws it from there, which is fantastic. And he's a rocket ship fast and all that stuff. But this is just kind of how this stuff is set up. Now, straight up, how are you going to practice this? I would strongly recommend that you get in a deep concealment rig. If you've got an Enigma, great. If you're using a tuck strut holster, you could use a P30 Orion if you're an HK person or whatever, a holster with a tuck on it. Well, you've got to practice this a little bit. I'll tell you, the first few times that you mess with this, that's how I learned the little tuck thing, is I did it a bunch. I'm like, man, I got to fix this problem. And by a bunch, I mean like 20 reps, right? Because every time you do it, you then got to stuff everything back in, put everything right. So instead of it, like with your regular out the front, a garment, an untucked shirt or whatever that I'm doing maybe 15 reps a minute, here I'm doing 2 tops. And so it gets to be a lot. But you want to kind of vet that stuff out. So my encouragement to you is, if you ever wear in an unconventional manner or in a manner of deep concealment like I was just earlier, that you do some of this work, right? That you use an X10 with your holster draw analysis so you can see exactly what you've got. That you use something like a timer that has a par time on it so you can see, okay, well, there was a 1.5, okay, there was a 2.0, or whatever the case may be, so you know what your draw to first shot is. And that means you gotta get dressed in those kinds of things. And I'm gonna take my wife out to the ballet tonight knowing that I can get a 1.5, actually about a 1.2, 1.3 draw to first shot. Hope it helps you.